Good morning. Welcome to 49ers in 5, your daily update on everything happening with the team that you need to know. I'm Rob Stats Guerrero. Today is Thursday, August 17th, 2023. Here's what's happening with your San Francisco 49ers. We'll start with a quick practice update. And the story of Wednesday's practice is that Brock Purdy continues to throw interceptions. 2 more picks for Brock. That brings his season total so far in practice to 10. I'm not telling you to freak out. I'm not telling you it doesn't mean anything. All I'm telling you is 10 is the number, with 7 dropped interceptions as well. Afterwards, Kyle Shanahan was asked, are you worried about Brock's picks?
You never want interceptions in any situation. There's never one answer. Each one's different. But when you're getting, I definitely like having interceptions a lot more in practice than in games. And one thing Brock does is he lets it rip. He's not worried about anything else, especially not worried about people counting his interceptions, at practice and stuff. And that doesn't mean they're all right. But I do like him letting it rip, and I like him learning from things that he can't get away with, things he can get away with. And I think our defense got their hands on a lot of balls, not just Brock's, but I definitely want our quarterbacks to cut down on them. But I also want them to make real throws, and when they make mistakes, to learn from them.
Coach him to be more aggressive on the practice field than they might be in a game?
I try to coach him the same. But you also are always responsible for that ball. And so there's sometimes in games that you see something, you hesitate a little bit because of some scar you might have had in practice or something from letting it go, and you don't let it rip because you did that in practice, and then we watch the tape after and we try to learn if that was real or not, or if that was just a scar from practice. Those things happen. You try to coach it the exact same, but where you learn is practice. And then you get to the games and you never tell someone to change. You want to be aggressive in everything you do. But now if we get those 3 picks, it's going to be extremely hard for us to win.
So to summarize Kyle's official position, all he's asking for is total perfection. Okay. Speaking of not listening to what people are saying, there's been a lot of negativity around Trey Lance, especially nationally. LaShawn McCoy, Michael Lombardi particularly had a strange comment about Trey that seemed to go beyond just criticizing him professionally and into sort of the personal. So, Kyle Shanahan, what's your response to the things that are being said?
This goes with the territory. I mean, it goes with it for quarterbacks. It goes with it for anybody who's a high draft pick, but especially a quarterback. You watch, and that's one of the tough things, I think, for that position, but also for high draft picks. I mean, you watch receivers come in the league and they have a few drops early in camp, and there becomes a lot of pressure on them. People want to see those people take off and do it right away and have no flaws, and that's just part of it.
Is there anything you've had to address with him, or is he pretty good as far as the mindset, knowing what comes with the territory?
Trey is extremely smart, very socially aware. He knows how the world works, and so he does his best, which I think he does a damn good job of trying to block that out and just focus on getting better, and I think that's what he's done so far.
It seems like that was a perfect chance to defend your guy, and for some reason you didn't take it. It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him. In other practice news, congratulations, Ambry Thomas. He got some run with the first team on the outside as a corner, and that pushed Diamador Lenore into the nickel in the slot. We'll see if that sticks. And there were multiple defensive end combinations because Nick Bosa is still not there, and no Drake Jackson, who also did not participate in practice. We always give you one thing to read, one thing to watch, and one thing you might have missed. One thing to read on this Thursday, Tim Kawakami has a really interesting article in The Athletic all about the quarterbacks. Even goes back to Jimmy Garoppolo and Phillip Rivers and how that would have materialized if the 49ers had found a way to win the NFC Championship game. But there's stuff in there about the relationship between Kyle Shanahan and Jimmy Garoppolo at the end that we didn't know before. And it got pretty bad, apparently. If you want to read the article, you can click the link in the description of this episode. One thing to watch, Raheem Mostert, of all people, actually defended Trey Lance, responding to an article about some of the negativity, and said, hey, man, y'all need to stop disrespecting him like this. This is the crossing the damn line. Everyone has something to say, but can't back their own BS up. What's interesting to watch is, are any of Lance's teammates now going to defend him? You know, they went to the mattresses for Jimmy Garoppolo, and they went to the mattresses for Javon Kinlaw. Will they do that for Trey Lance, or will they sit silently as he continues to take a lot of heat? One thing you may have missed, Kyle Shanahan said he's unsure, I should say, if the starters are going to play in the second week of the preseason against the Broncos. He also said Darnold and Lance will probably flip, which means Darnold will get most of the first half, and then Lance would come in the second half. At one point, Matt Mayoko and Matt Barrows had completely contradictory tweets about that very subject. Like, how can we not figure this out? This shouldn't be very difficult, guys. Yet for some reason, the 49ers beat still can't get their act together. Not exactly inspiring a lot of confidence. That's a wrap on today's 49ers in 5. Please rate, review, and follow the Gold Standard Podcast Network. Enjoy your Thursday, everybody. Levin Black and I will be live at 10 a.m. Pacific time tomorrow. Take your questions. We'll do a live version of the Gold Standard Podcast. Have a feeling those Lombardi comments and Kyle's thoughts on them will come up during the show. I'm Rob Stats Guerrera. We'll talk tomorrow.